Hello, everyone, and welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and today I got a very special guest, Nate from Geeks and Flix, and today we'll be discussing Blackmail from 1929 from director Alfred Hitchcock. And so with that, why don't you introduce yourself, Nate?
Yes, like Harrison said, my name is Nate. I am one half of the Geeks and Flix team with my partner, Alex. We do a little YouTube, we do a little podcasting, Action Movie Guys podcast. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do. And I love movies. I love reviewing movies. I love Hitchcock. So I'm glad you asked me to be on this one.
Yes. Yeah, and kind of talking about that, had you ever heard of or seen this movie before from Hitchcock?
So my only knowledge of it is I have seen it. I've almost bought it for years. Because it's a Kino Lorber Blu-ray and I buy a lot from them. So I have seen it. I know they put out this one. They put out one called Murder and another one. And I haven't bought them yet. So then when you asked me, I bought it. So that's all my knowledge of it. I've never seen a clip of it. I didn't know anything about it. I never saw it until today.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I never seen it either. It's just one of those that's been on my watch list forever because I have a list for watching all of the Hitchcock movies. I just love Hitchcock so much.
Yeah.
And so I heard of it, but I've never seen it before. And so with that, before we get into it, make sure everybody to follow Nate over on Geeks and Flix and all that. I'll have links to all that down in the description before I forget. And so with that, let's kind of talk about some behind the scenes details about Blackmail. So let me bring up our slides here. And so here's some kind of interesting behind the scenes things about it. This film is the first sound film from England. And initially, Hitchcock filmed it in silent. He filmed it as a silent film. But halfway through production, the jazz singer came out in America. And that was such a huge success that England was like, hey, Hitchcock, why don't you turn this film, like the last 10 minutes of it, into sound? And he's like, that is an insane idea. No, I'm not going to do that. Instead, he refilmed it in sound.
Sounds like something you would do.
Right. But some portions of the film, he kept silent. So he didn't redo the whole thing per se, but he dubbed over the scenes that didn't have sound in them. So I thought that was interesting that this is the first British sound film. And rather than doing what the studio wanted, he kind of did what he wanted to do with it.
You know, it's funny you said that because on the Blu-ray, it says that the Blu-ray has the 76-minute silent version as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put it on, the first like 8 minutes, it's like a silent movie. There's no, like people are like, and there's no sound, there's no title card. So I thought I was watching the wrong one. And I was like, if I don't hear someone talk in the next like few minutes, I'm going to check this disc and like put in the other one or something. And then they started talking. So right. I was like, okay, this is, you could tell from what you said, the beginning was obviously left from the other version. And some parts at the end too, like when they're chasing the guy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very silent film-esque. Yeah.
Definitely. And same thing when I was watching it, I watched it on Canopy. Same thing. I was like, oh, where are the title cards? Is this a silent film? Oh, no.
Yeah,
and then they start talking. It was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what? I don't know what they're saying, and there's no title cards. So I don't know what's happening. So it was like watching intently. And then it turns out like it doesn't really matter that much to the rest of the story.
No, not at all. But I just thought that was interesting too. And then on top of that, so because not every theater had sound capabilities, they did have a silent version of the film. And that one actually made more money than the sound one did, just because not everyone had the technology. So I thought that was interesting too.
That actually makes sense. If they didn't have the technology, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But that's just crazy to me that how quickly things change from silent to sound within a movie, like it's crazy.
And Hitchcock, later on, he, I'm sure he didn't even mind because like reshooting stuff. Like later on, he did The Man Who Knew Too Much twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he remade his own movie later. So I just feel like he was probably like, all right, well, we'll just shoot it again. Like why not? And have two totally different versions of the same movie.
Yeah. What it kind of reminds me of too is when they used to do 3D movies, people would film in 3D. It's not necessarily a different version of the film, but I just find that kind of interesting too, is they use the technology that's new to kind of differentiate it, make it unique.
Yeah, for sure. And you could tell it was early sound because like the stuff that has sound on it, it's not all the way. Like even though like you hear nothing except music, and then all of a sudden they get out of the truck, and the little door flap has noise, but it doesn't quite sync up. So you could tell it's very early on. And then you hear like some background talking almost.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff that looked like it was obviously dubbed over. Like they were not talking that. It's from behind. And then there's a voiceover. So you could really, I think that's a very cool fun fact, because when you watch it, you can very much see and feel that fact like in front of your eyes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I thought what was kind of funny too is you could tell where they stopped the sound recording too. So like in one scene, somebody's talking or whatever, then they're in the next one and the sound is just totally dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Going outside, walking downstairs, it's totally dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Audio back then was something else. And also has that like, if you watch, well, you watch a lot of old movies, but if people are listening and they're just getting into it, it has that sort of like weird hissing sound almost.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the Universal monster movies have it that it's just like a sound that kind of goes throughout, and it's more prevalent in the talking parts than the non-talking parts.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad we've kind of fixed that because it can be annoying.
It definitely is. If you're listening to it loud, it's annoying for sure.
Yes. Oh yeah. Burst your eardrums.
Yeah. You're just like, what is that noise? It's like a constant, it's almost like, it's not quite white noise. It just sounds like a hissing. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's almost like you're hearing people talk through a telephone. Like when you're on the telephone, people are talking. It's kind of how it sounds.
That's a good way to do it. Or like a radio.
AM radio. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, those are kind of all the behind the scenes stuff I had. Let's get into our thoughts on the plot. So let's bring that up. What are your thoughts on the plot?
Okay, so I've seen a lot of Hitchcock films, so I almost grade his movies. I wouldn't say, I grade them differently than other movies because he has done so many. He's directed so many films, and I've seen so many that I almost score them against themselves. So like he is
they're like their own category almost.
Exactly. I do not compare this to another movie from 1928. I compare it to Hitchcock's other movies. And in that regard, I think the plot's fine. It's good. It's nowhere near where he would go later as far as the suspense type stuff. It's very basic, right? You have this situation that happens and someone does something. I don't know. You don't do spoilers, right?
We can do spoilers. That's fine. Okay, movie's almost 100 years old.
Yeah, you're right. This movie's 96 or something like that.
Yeah, it's close to 100.
95. Okay. The main girl ends up killing somebody who's trying to like assault her pretty much. And when she escapes, the other guy she's seeing, who's a policeman for Scotland Yard, and he of course finds one of her gloves, but she left the other one. And then the guy who finds it is blackmailing them, makes him buy a cigar. And then, he wants more and more. And then the other cop's like, what we're going to do? We're going to pin it on him instead of on you. And then, that's like the basic premise just stretched out over 80 minutes or so. And I think it's good. I think the beginning kind of hurts it because it had nothing to do with anything. I really don't know what was the point of that.
First 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. It has nothing to do with the story.
No.
it literally, and there's no title card, so you don't even know what that guy did. You don't know what is going on. So anyway, but I thought it was good. I thought it was a good plot, but not a great plot.
Okay. And what score would you get it?
I gave it a 3 out of 5. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Yeah, I think it's solid, but I've seen much better from him.
Yeah. Real quick, do you know if that guy at the beginning who was being chased, is that the same guy that was blackmailing later on? I wonder if that's what that was.
So that's what I thought, but the guy that they get is like way older than that guy. What I thought it might have been was the cop. I was like, is that the cop? Are they showing that this Scotland Yard guy is a good cop? Was it him that was like, I think he was one of the, I'd have to go back and check, but I think he was one of the two cops. So maybe they're just showing that he's good at his job.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
He caught somebody, and now he's on this case. So maybe it was that.
Maybe it was that.
Yeah.
Who knows? I have no idea. I couldn't tell at all.
Yeah,
because you need title cards.
It would have helped. Their mouths are moving, and you don't know what they're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Because that too kind of tripped me up. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I just liked it a little bit more. Mm. I liked the idea of them pinning the murder on the other guy. And, in my mind, when I was figuring that out, I was like, oh, that's a fun idea. They could actually pin the murder on the other guy. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I just felt that they didn't really deliver on that, because that guy later on just dies. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll move on then. It's like, wait, hold on a second. Like, what's going to happen to the girl now? And I just felt it lost a lot of its steam that it was building up. And I thought she got off way too easy. Now, I know she was self-defense and whatnot, right? But I don't know. I felt like they could have expanded on that a bit more. It just ended so abruptly. I was like, oh, is she off scot-free? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they had the painting at the end where she's crossed out her name and it had the little stick figure lady on the back or whatever, but not stick figure, but the basic drawing. But like, even that, like, you're right. I agree. Like, what was I guess she's going to get away with it and just be guilty, like feel guilty for the rest of her life.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt they could have expanded on that a bit more. And, I don't know, like an idea I had was, she feels kind of more ashamed and kind of crazy the whole film. And then at the end kind of blurts it out, because she seemed kind of cool and collected after a while. She didn't seem kind of worried about it anymore.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden she writes the letter. She's like, I'm going to tell them I did it. That's it. I just can't live with myself anymore. I'm like, I didn't get those vibes for most of this movie.
And she's just sitting there too. She's not even like, oh gosh, I got it. No, she's just do. It's like, you're confessing to a murder you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that could have been a bit better. And so that's why I gave it 3.5 out of 5. All right. Let's move on to acting. What were your thoughts on the acting?
All right. So I'll be honest with you. This style of acting is not my favorite. I do love old movies, but the 20s, some 30s, like I don't like later 30s movies. I think they get better, but this early on acting, it doesn't stand out to me as anything particular. Like it's a lot of like big facial expressions and, no one's delivering a performance that's like super real. It all feels like theater. Like very much like a play. And I know this was adapted from a play, but it still feels kind of like play acting, like theater acting. So it's not my favorite style. I think they did well. I like the girl in it. I thought she was good. Like you said, though, I didn't all the way feel what she was supposed to be feeling as far as all that guilt. I didn't get it. So that is like a little bit of a minus. The guy who was blackmailing them, like he was okay. The guy who ends up getting murdered, he was okay. They were all fine. Again, I gave it a 3. Like I thought it was good, but this style of acting is very specific, and it's not always my cup of tea.
Fair enough. So you gave it a 3, you said?
A 3 out of 5, yeah.
3 out of 5. All right. Well, I gave it a 4. I liked it a little bit more, but I also watch a lot of movies from this era, so I understand what you're saying though, because it's not for everybody. It definitely is very exaggerative and very much like a stage play. I would even call this not televised, but a film stage play, right? Like, I bet if I watched the stage play, it'd be very similar to how they're reacting and how they're talking and stuff. And real kind of a side note, I thought was interesting. So the actress, her name is Anny Ondra. She was Czech, like Czechoslovakian, and had kind of a thicker accent. So they had someone else dubbing her voice while she would have been delivering her lines. But the thing is, the technology we have today to do that didn't exist. So they were actually recording the voice actor for her, or the other voice behind her, while she's mouthing her lines. And they had to kind of match it up. It was crazy.
I mean, that's impressive. The to think like, well, we don't have how can we do this?
Yeah.
Like super analog way to do it.
Yeah. Like if you've seen Singing in the Rain, they have a whole sequence with that. It's pretty hilarious. So very, very similar to that. But that just blew me away because I was like, she has a very high pitched voice.
Yeah. And the other thing is like all of them, obviously it sounds and seems like a dub track. So it affects the acting in that way too, where sometimes it seems like it's really them talking and sometimes it does not. And it's like, I don't love that. But it just comes with the time.
And it definitely is the first time England's doing a sound film. And I think they got much, much better later on.
I would agree. Would agree.
But anyways, so kind of back to acting. I actually liked her a lot. I thought her expressions were the best, especially after she stabbed her would-be assailant. I thought that was really cool. I also liked her detective boyfriend, I think, or fiance. I'm not sure, but I just wish he was a little bit more developed as a character. Because I felt like the actor, like in one scene, he's mad at her for cheating on him, right? But then the next scene, he's like, well, I love her again. It's like, whoa. You don't just switch like that. Like, we need more than that. You know, when did he switch?
Right. And not only that, like, I'm going to help cover up the fact that she murdered a guy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, a guy that she was stepping out with on me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
I feel like he's like, yeah, kill him.
Yeah.
So
it was weird.
I thought that was a little strange. But I actually really liked his character's name is Tracy. He's the guy in the right there in the picture that was blackmailing them. To me, he was the best actor in regards to like his facial expressions and just how kind of coy he is. You know, he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy, it was like a beer or something. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this here. Oh, I can't pay for it. Can you pay for it?
It was a cigar.
A cigar. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I think he was a really fun character. Like if you've seen Strangers on a Train, he kind of reminded me a little bit of that character, the crazy guy who wants to cause a murder.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen that one.
It's I own it and it's a hole. I still haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I have about 5 or 6 that I haven't watched yet.
Okay.
And that's one of them. So
well, that one's really good.
I want to see it. And one day I need to just do like a day where I watch all the 5 that I haven't seen yet. But so I don't know the reference, but I believe you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but I even noticed in this movie too, with some of the other characters and whatnot, that he would use them later on. Like Anny Ondra's character, she kind of reminded me a little bit of Grace Kelly's character in Dial M for Murder.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that movie. Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of that a bit. And then let's see, what was his name? John Lungden, who's the detective boyfriend. He kind of reminded me a bit of what's his name? Shoot, I can't think of it. But if you've seen the 39 Steps, there's a kind of detective character in that one. He kind of reminded me of him too. But I noticed that Hitchcock kind of uses a lot of similar themes, similar character archetypes in his films. So it's kind of cool seeing an early version of that.
Yeah, he always has the blonde woman who's like, you're right. It's very, sometimes they're a little different. But if you look especially at his early films, like everything pre-50, I would say, even into 50s a little bit, but pre-50, they all have these, like the detective guys are almost always the same or similar. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. Our character archetypes, obviously working and doing mostly thrillers, almost all thrillers are what would fall under that category. Yeah, he liked his certain type of people, and then from there it's just a performance thing. Some people do it better, some people do it less. But yeah, I could definitely see that and agree with you.
Yeah. Awesome. Since we're kind of talking about that, what are your thoughts on the directing?
All right. Now, this was an interesting watch. This is the oldest Hitchcock film I've seen.
Same.
Yeah, this was the earliest one I've seen. I mean, before this, just like looking at his filmography, the prior oldest one I had seen would have been The Man Who Knew Too Much, the first version from 34.
Okay.
Which by then, and this is 5 years later, and I feel like that even that one is a much more like assuredly directed movie than this. However, I will say he had a grasp already on filmmaking when he made this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I would say there's some stuff that's a little bit, like that doesn't really stand out too much for the time. That early like silent scene where they're just like going and getting the guy, pretty regular, nothing impressive. However, once like the shot where her and the guy who she kills are going up the stairs, and he filmed it from like there's a wall there clearly. Well, they're supposed to be within the story, and it looks like they just cut off the wall and they're walking up these stairs, and it literally built a set that is like the stairwell without the wall, because when they get to the top, he cuts to another angle and there's a wall. So I'm like, this is some classic Hitchcock type stuff right here. Loved it. Of course, he has his own cameo in there, like always, with the little annoying kid on the train.
I love that. It was so funny.
I love that he always has these cameos, and he added a little flair. So I would say, while not as impressive as what he would do later, you could already see the sprinkling of the genius that would be Alfred Hitchcock. So I gave the directing a 4. Because I know how much better it gets, but this was really good for what was he, like 30 years old, 29 years old when he made this?
Yeah, he was pretty young.
Yeah, so I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Nice. No, I'm not going to disagree with you there. I also gave it a 4. I thought he did really good, and like I was alluding to earlier, he really seemed to have a real good grasp and just an idea of what he wanted to do with his movies. This also is the earliest one I've seen by him. I think before it was also The Man Who Knew Too Much from 34. I don't like that one as much, but
I like the remake better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one's so good. Oh, so
like
good.
I like Peter Lorre, but that version's not as good as the second version.
No, definitely not. But anyway, so I really liked what he did here. It's almost like looking at an early Rembrandt or like an early Van Gogh, like you could kind of see the style there starting to develop it, but it's not quite there yet. He's getting to the point where he's a total auteur, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the steps to build to that, right? So that's why I also gave it a 4. It's not perfect, but really good considering he'd only made like 5 or 6 movies before this one. Like, pretty impressive. Maybe even 10. I don't know, but
yeah, let's see. Impressive. He had done he had done a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 9. But they're probably all silent films. So, his first movie was in 1922, which means he would have been only like 23 when he made that.
Jeez.
So very young.
That's insane.
Yeah, definitely. When I was 22, I couldn't even think about directing a whole entire movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't even direct my lunch. Like, I didn't even know what I wanted to eat for lunch. Kudos to him. A genius.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think we're pretty much in agreement there. He wasn't fully there yet, but definitely getting to where we know him today.
I did like the chase scene at the end when they're chasing the guy.
Oh, at the museum?
Yes. Even all the way through the car. Like, there's a car. Obviously, it's like a super old car, but, there's like a little car chase part of it, and they're running. And it just reminded me of like something like Saboteur. Have you ever seen Saboteur?
I have not. That's one of the ones I haven't seen yet.
Okay, so it kind of reminds me of Saboteur, where the guy's going up and he ends up on the Statue of Liberty. But like, it's his chase scenes are all, they're a little similar, but I mean, it's the same guy directing them. So, what are you going to do? And they would even like Vertigo, but they would just become better and better. But this one reminds me of that, and I liked it. I thought it was good. That definitely felt like a silent part where they're like, "We'll just leave this part in. Like, it don't matter." But yes, I thought that was a really fun sequence as well. And the murder scene. The murder scene's great.
Yeah, I like that too.
Great. You just see like the curtain is like rustling. You don't hear any sounds really, and then you just see the hand come out. And you're like, "Oh, I know what happened." And then she slowly comes out. She's holding the knife. Like, all that is fantastic. So, sprinkles of what would be.
Absolutely. And I don't know if England had a Hays Code, if you will, over there, but I think that's interesting how they kind of stepped around if they had a code like that, right?
They do.
That's why I always loved it. Okay, they did. Okay,
they do. Yeah, if you looked at the beginning, I don't know if your version that you saw has it, but right at the beginning, there's a thing that says that it's approved by the British whatever for viewing for adults or something like that.
Oh, I think I do remember seeing.
Yes.
Okay.
So they do have like a standards type code, obviously different than the Hays Code for America, but yes, they did. So yeah, interesting how they had to skirt it, right? Like you're not gonna hear no noises, you're not gonna see anything. You see this thing, put it 2 and 2 together, you know what's going on in there.
Yeah. So that's what I love about him, though, is he found ways to work around that and did very clever things with it.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's move on to cinematography and special effects. So that scene you're just talking about is one of my favorites.
There it is. There you got a photo of it. That's exactly right. Like in the film, that's a wall, but it's invisible when we're looking at it because there's no railing on that side because it's a wall. So, it looks cool, first of all. Like, I love the way it goes. Camera just going up as they walk up these stairs, get to the door. Once they get to the top, switches sides. Again, you got a chase scene at the end, which is kind of cool. I mean, as far as effects, that is an effect. To me, that's a special effect of the time.
Yeah.
So it has some special effects. And as far as cinematography, I think it's really good. I don't think it is like the most standout. I think the locations are pretty, like, it's a lot of interiors. Like we mentioned, it's kind of like a play. So it's a lot of, you're like in a room. There's not too much outside. There is, the chase scene in the beginning where those guys go to get that guy and that we don't even know what was going on. Other than that, you're looking at like a shop, a restaurant, an apartment,
a bedroom. Yeah.
Like a bedroom. And that's it. Like, it's all internal stuff. So it's fine. I still gave it a 4 just for this part because I loved it so much. I was like, classic Hitchcock right there. But I couldn't go much higher because it's pretty standard beyond that.
Fair enough. Well, I gave it a 5 because of this scene.
Okay. Well, I'm cool with that. That's good.
Yeah. And I'm kind of bummed because the slide I made here is a GIF and it's supposed to show it going up, but I guess it didn't work.
Just frozen.
Yeah. So you can visualize in your minds that they're moving up the stairs there.
and the camera pans up and they just keep walking. It's like a little circular stair.
Yeah. And I was talking to my wife. I was like, how did he do that? Like, did he have a pulley system? But it's very stable,
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're right. It's not it's not like a crane. It's definitely on some sort of studio, like in a building.
Oh, definitely in a building. Yeah.
They built this 3-floor thing with no wall, and that camera pans up with it. But you're right. It's not all shaky. It's not swinging. It's just like perfectly. Maybe they had some sort of, I don't even know what they had in 1928 is so long ago. They had to film this in 28. It came out in 29.
Right.
I don't even know what would have existed. You're right. Like, there's a pulley. It's probably going to move. You would think maybe it was a platform and it's just like an elevator type thing. I don't know what they had back then.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But it was very impressive to me, even today. Like, I was like, holy cow, that's really cool. Another scene that I really liked was we're kind of looking overhead on the staircase. And this is a scene he uses a lot later on, like in Vertigo and I think in Psycho or one of the other ones too. Yeah. I really liked that scene too, just to kind of show just how scary it was, the staircase and whatnot. I don't know. I've always been impressed with the camera work, even in his earlier films, like in I was mentioning 39 Steps. That's another great one with great camera work. And even the Man Who Knew Too Much from the 30s, that one had really good camera work too. So I've always thought that's like a staple of his movies is really, really interesting camera angles and camera work.
I agree with you 100%. I absolutely think so. Again, I'm probably more hardcore because I grade him on his own scale of like his other stuff. And so I probably could have given this a 5 because it is so early and this one part alone is so cool. But I'm like, I'm too hardcore. But I like your 5. I give it I'm with you in spirit on the 5.
Well, there you go. All right. let's move on then to music. What were your thoughts on the music?
All right. Well, we're going to come down a little bit for me here on the music because I think it's just, I don't remember it. It's not memorable to me. It's super 1920s music. Now, there's multiple. This is an interesting movie. And so on this Blu-ray release, this is not an advertisement or anything. We're not getting sponsored or paid, but
I wish.
Exactly. Me too. I wish you were getting paid by them. Kino, but I like them. And I do like to tell people if there's what sort of options there are. You streamed it on this release. Not only do they have the silent version, they also have the talking version. And then they have two different versions as far as the aspect ratio. So I watched it in 1:21 and they have another one. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I didn't have time to watch them both and compare. There's also the silent version has a different music track on it than the regular one. So I don't know if that one's better, worse. The one I heard, fine. I think it's, it fits the movie. I will say it fits the movie, which is pretty much all you can ask for. I'm going to give it some extra credit though, because of I'm going to factor in the dialogue stuff where they had to kind of do a very early version of an ADR. And I didn't even know the thing about the actress. So just for that bonus point as well, I'm actually going to give it a 4 because while the music itself is not standout, it does fit, but the behind the scenes of how they got the dialogue and everything, and the fact that this is the first talking movie from England, extra point. So I give it a 4.
Nice. Well, I also gave it a 4. It is definitely generic music, but I think the scenes that have it really set the tone really well, especially in the scene when she's, being attacked by her lover. I don't even know
who is that guy. You give her a note, and then she shows up at his house, and that's it. Yeah. We didn't get any backstory.
No, we didn't. I have no idea who he is, but at any rate, I like the music there, and I wish there was a little bit more, but to what you said, this is an early film. They didn't have the technology we have today when it comes to music. And I think music plays a bigger role in films today than it did back then. Because even in Dracula, one of my favorite movies ever, there's hardly any music in it at all. Especially in the scenes when he's fighting people. It's just sound effects. It's not music at all.
You're talking the Bela Lugosi?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They just used the Swan Lake for the opening credits.
Which is awesome.
It fits, but it's not even unique to the movie.
Right. It already has its own gravitas, but
there's no music in that.
Yeah, no. So, but I like the music that is here. And just as a bonus thing, this music and all the sound effects are in the public domain. So if you want to use it for a movie, go ahead.
You can make your very own 1929 sounding film with this music for Black.
That's right.
I like that. That's cool.
So go for it. It's free.
Yeah, maybe someone has a retro movie in mind, you remember that movie, The Artist, that came out a few years ago and it was silent? Maybe someone else wants to try it. And they're like, let's get the music from Blackmail.
Yeah.
Put it on there.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? It's free. So we should use it.
Yeah. When I saw that image there, I was like, how much sound effects and music are there though? I don't remember being that much.
That's true. Yeah, there's not a lot. Because even the murder scene, that whole section is kind of quiet in general. I mean, you do have him play. He plays the piano and sings a song, and then he plays it again or whatever before he goes to attack her. But that whole section is quiet. There's no music playing. There's no even the ruffling. You don't really hear anything. So there's a lot of silence in this too.
Yeah. So. Oh well.
Yeah, if you get this this sound library, if there's a section where it's just nothing and you think it's over and it's actually still playing.
Right. No, that's just the scene where they're chasing the guy in the beginning.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the glass breaks. That's when the glass breaks.
All right. Well, there isn't a whole. So if you're expecting a CD or something of it, you're not going to find one.
No. Or if you're expecting a very memorable score like Psycho or something, and it ain't happening. Not with this one.
No Bernard Herrmann in this one.
No. It was someone else, and I don't know who it was, but it was very 1929. I'll say that.
I don't even think they credit I think just Hitchcock was really the credited person on the film.
Yeah, there's very little credits. There was like the cast, and then it said based on a play written by so and so, and then adapted and directed by Hitchcock. And that was like pretty much all you needed to know.
It's like, okay.
He made it all by himself. He made this whole entire movie all by himself. You don't need to know anything else.
Yep. It's so fascinating how different that is now, because those credits were like 30 seconds. Today, it's like 10 minutes. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's also crazy that back then, mostly, especially the old movies, they played them at the beginning, and then when the movie ends, it just stops. It's just at the end.
Right.
So you do have like one thing that always they would put is like the continuity person. They would always get their credit. The script person who like make sure they stay in continuity. You get the actors. Sometimes you would get like sound, the sound guy, and then like the score. Usually you do get the score, but here I don't remember many credits. I remember that little British thing, and then a couple, and that was it.
And to be fair, though, too, I mean, a lot of the times, I don't even know if this film was fully restored or not, because like at Metropolis, for example, so many scenes and so many things like that were missing that what we have is just kind of a smorgasbord of different cuts. So it could be that case, too, where we don't have every single element that was on it.
It could be, and it looks kind of cruddy, to be honest, the picture. Even in I watch it in high def, and it doesn't look amazing. So, you know, that is more likely due to the source than the cleanup efforts.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, it doesn't look incredible. So there probably is some stuff that's like that was cut out or burned in a fire or something. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, 95 years is a long time. Something could happen between then.
Something definitely did happen between now and then.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's move on then to our total scores. Letterboxd. All right. So what's your overall score for this film?
All right. So my overall score came out. I ended up, obviously, I rounded it because it was a weird number. It came out to a 3.6. So I just rounded to 3.5. So
there you go.
Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. I think it's a good movie. I definitely, I'm glad I own it. I won't be getting rid of it or anything like that. If I were to like show someone who's never seen a Hitchcock film, it's like maybe the 20th one I'd reach for. But also if I were to do like a big watch through, I would want to include it because I think it shows a lot of what he would become, especially genre wise. I think I read somewhere this was his first thriller, like his first thriller movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So this is kind of the birth of what he would kind of go on to make. So yeah, I think also the Letterboxd little like synopsis is hilarious. It's not even close to what happens. Yeah, go ahead and read it. It's not even close to what happens.
What? No.
Yeah, she goes to his fancy apartment, and it just ends there. It doesn't sound very exciting for a movie called Blackmail.
That's like the first 10 seconds of the film.
That's literally the opening part of when they can talk. Is that the first 5 minutes of talking?
Yeah.
So yes, it made me laugh when I went to Letterboxd to score it.
That's funny.
I was like, this ain't it. Also, A Romance of Scotland Yard. I wouldn't describe it as that. But yeah, 3.6, so a 3.5 for me.
Nice. Well, I got a 4.1, so I'm running to a 4, which is about 82%. And so I would recommend this movie, but like you, this would not be the first Hitchcock film I would show people. I would say this would be for people who are kind of already fans of Hitchcock and being like, hey, you want to see one of his earlier works? You could kind of see some of the stuff we love that he did later on. And I think a general audience wouldn't appreciate it as much as a Hitchcock fan. Because they'd be like, okay, it's just an old movie and it ends abruptly. Like, that was a waste of time.
It's an old movie and then it ends. I think you hit the nail on the head there. This is very much a movie for, now in 2024, a movie for Hitchcock fans who want to see his earlier stuff. It's not an entry-level Hitchcock by any means. Some directors you start at their beginning of the filmography and you're fine. Like if you went with Nolan and you even if you started with Following, that's fine because it's a fine movie. But if you started with Memento, like his first big studio movie, perfectly fine to start there and go on.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah, exactly. So with Hitchcock, I think it's way better to start later and work your way back.
Yeah,
something like this. Yeah,
I agree. And having said all that, I definitely want to pick this film up. I want to get that Kino Lorber. That sounds awesome with all those different cuts of it.
Yeah, silent version, talking version, and then 2 different aspect ratio. It's a 2-disc Blu-ray, so like it has stuff on it. So if you are a Hitchcock fan, I would recommend it. It's on Amazon. I bought it on Amazon. It's cheaper if you just buy it from Kino. I just wanted it quicker because I knew we had to do this. So I went to Amazon run. I regret it, but it's fine. Sure. I have it, and I'm happy.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It was my own fault. I had to, you asked me way enough in advance that I should have ordered it then, but I was a procrastinator, and so I had to use my 2-day shipping. So do not apologize because I'm keeping it. I don't feel it's a waste of money, but I could have saved like $8 if I just bought it.
I know, and at the time of this recording, they have a sale going on too.
Oh, it's probably on there. I bet I wouldn't be surprised if it's on there. I have 2 Kino. I have another one they put out called Lifeboat. Have you seen Lifeboat?
I have not, but my friend, he's also named Nate from Maple Street Movies. He talks about that movie a lot too.
Great movie. Yeah, I would I think there's 4 Kino Lorber Hitchcock movies. This one and that one are the ones I've seen. I still need to get the other ones, but yeah, I think you would enjoy it because you like history and it has all those different versions. I would recommend it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think Kino Lorber is great with that. Like I talk about all the time. Touch of Evil. I have every version of it because of Kino Lorber. So
exactly. Yeah, I love that they do that. Like they have this cut, that cut, this aspect ratio, this different musical score put in. That it's like, thank you. I'm not a super special features guy. I'd rather just have multiple versions of the movie and like a one little documentary and I'm good, rather than one version of the movie and 19 documentaries about all the other versions. Like
right.
Just see it for myself.
Right, exactly. I don't want to talk about it. I want to actually see it.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else you want to mention about Blackmail before we close?
No, I will say if you are a Hitchcock fan, definitely worth your time. Not his best, but not my least favorite. I mean, there's probably 1 or 2 that I've seen that I like almost all his movies. Let's just start there. So I can't say I've seen one that I would like. I hate this movie. There are, to me, his movies range from I love them to I like them. And this would fall on the low I like it scale. You know what I mean? But very enjoyable, very worth your time. If you're not a Hitchcock fan, please do not start with this one. Just believe us. Do not start here. Start later. Go to the even 40s, 50s, 60s. Start with something in there. And then, you can work your way back to the 20s. But yes, I would say it's recommended for everybody. I do think it's a worthwhile movie.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. All right. Well, those are our thoughts on Blackmail from 1929. And before we go, why don't you plug your channel and stuff you got going on?
Yes. Again, we are Geeks and Flix. It's myself and Alex, my buddy. We go live on YouTube every other Sunday night. So if you go there this Sunday, we will not be, well, I don't know when this is going to be up, but if you go there this Sunday and we're not there, the next one, we will be there. So every other Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we just talk movies, movie topics, movie related stuff. You can also listen to us on the Action Movie Guys podcast. Harrison's been on before. So it's our little, I call that like our little chicken nugget show. Cause they're only like half an hour. You know what I mean? They're short, they're action packed. And then we're moving on. If our live show's a steak, those are chicken nuggets. Only action film. That's all we talk about. So if you're into action films, definitely check us out. I think we've done 307. We just recorded 374 episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. I was told him, I'm like, we're almost to 400. This is insane.
Oh my gosh. You're going to hit that by the end of this year.
We are. Yeah, we definitely are. And I have to go and check what the movie is because I don't even think it's going to be like a special occasion. It's probably like some junky 1980s action movie. I don't even know.
You got to save that for the 500th.
That's true. The worst movie ever for the 500th. Yeah. So that's where you could find us. YouTube, Geeks and Flix. Also, I do Out of the Theater reviews every week, every Thursday, every Friday. Whatever is the bigger new release, I review it. So yeah, if you're interested in any of those things, you can check us out there.
Perfect. And I'll have links to all of that down below, guys. Make sure to check them out. They've got great stuff over there. And I love listening to the Action Movie Guys podcast. I listen to it on my commute and stuff. You guys are hilarious.
We try.
Even when you don't, that's when it's even funnier.
That's true. Or if we're mad, like if we really hate something, that's when it's probably its funniest.
Yes. And I actually utilize watchable crap all the time now. I think that's hilarious.
We're trying to bring it to the add it to the lexicon of watchable crap. That's what it is, and everyone knows what it is, but they don't call it that. I don't like the term guilty pleasure.
I don't either.
It's just a pleasure. But you can know something is crap and you still want to watch it. It's watchable crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't feel guilty about it. Just acknowledge it and still like it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't hide about it. But anyways, so like you said, make sure to follow their stuff. They got great things there. And then you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Really Old Movies, where I discuss details about the week's particular film. New podcasts are released Mondays on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you can hear or watch podcasts. You'll find me there at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And then you could also watch me live Thursdays or Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And with that, this has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. This is my guest, Nate. Take care, everyone.